This is me. This is my beloved wife, Sylvia. This is Sylvia's idea of sailing. This is my dream of sailing and my hope of circumnavigating the globe as a retirement project in 2029. This is Sylvia's reaction to that idea.
What? You got a plan?
I am on a 6-year quest to convince Sylvia that a circumnavigation is a wonderful adventure, but the clock is ticking, so join me as I search for the perfect yacht that Sylvia will love, and get all your ladies to subscribe and cheer Sylvia on in the comments. Welcome back to Naval Gazing at Camp David. This week, we're heading back to South Africa for yet another Future Yacht episode and a look at the highly anticipated upcoming launch of the new Balance 580. Today we will 1. Review its specifications, pricing, and layout against 3 similar new vessels. 2. Do a full tour asking what would Sylvia say. 3. Naval gaze at an innovation or technology that just might make living aboard a little easier. 4. Have a look at the used market for 3 to 5-year-old comparables. And 5. Give it a Dave score and compare the results with all our previously reviewed yachts. As always, all this fun will be sandwiched between a pairing of wine and a work of art from the same region as the guest yacht, in an effort to capture the culture and people who gave birth to these wonderful vessels. Waves, wine, art, and ideas. What a civilized way to spend 30 minutes, so let's get going. From high above Vancouver, we head east across North America and the Atlantic to the west coast of France and home of last week's Future Yacht, the massive Bali 5.8. From here, we head south all the way down Europe and the African continent to the home of this week's Future Yacht at the Nexus Ballast Yards in South Africa. Finally, we hop west to the vineyards of this week's wine pairing, Boland Cellars 1 Formation. The Boland has a long history of wine production. It all started in the 1860s when a few French Huguenots began to settle at the small trading outpost in Parle. What they found here were the perfect conditions to start growing and nurturing a rich winemaking tradition in the region. From these humble beginnings, the Boland's wine production grew over the years until in 1939, some 40 wine farmers of the region came together to begin collectively pressing their grapes. Soon, their joint production was too large for the existing facilities to handle. That's when 9 bold farmers from the Parle area, determined to continue their collaboration, decided to head out on their own and took the courageous step of forming their own winery on the 17th of June, 1941. Today, that winery is known as Boland Cellar. Boland Cellar was established because local farmers understood that by working together, they could create better wine and build South Africa's burgeoning wine industry in a way that none of them could do alone. The Grenache is sourced from sustainably cultivated vineyards in the warmer lower eastern slopes of the Parleberg, where natural pest control is promoted rather than the use of pesticides. Well-drained duplex soils with clay subsoils retain water during the dry summer season. Cooling breezes prevail from October to March, which have a cooling effect on the vineyards as well as enhancing color in the grapes. These Grenache vines have an average age of 7 years and express abundant primary fruit flavors, while also producing healthy yields, which require removal of foliage during the change of color stage in order to control vigor and promote concentration of flavors and color. The grapes were picked at an optimum ripeness of 22.5 degrees Balling and slowly fermented. A combination of mostly pump overs and 20% carbonic maceration was used to extract flavor and color while ensuring a smooth tannin structure. Malolactic or second fermentation was carried out in second and third filled barrels, and then maturation in 300-liter French barrels to evolve flavors and gain complexity. Oh, you're gonna like that. Let's go have a look at that boat. Cheers. Having a look at this wonderful new part of the balance line. I mean, she stretches right out. We're talking, another 6 feet on top of the 526. And oh my goodness, have they done a lot with this space. It's not just an upgraded 526, as you'll quickly see. You'll note you've got that beautiful sun pad on the coach roof there. Look at the lines of this machine and the beautifully integrated davits at the back. Again, they haven't widened the hull significantly, so this thing should absolutely fly. Okay, looking at the profiles here, we've got the Balance 580, the Outremer 55, the HH 55, and the Exquisite 60 solar sail. All of them in this line look exquisite on the profile here. I mean, look at how that Balance 580 stretched out like that, how it really comes into its own, although every Balance has a beautiful profile. The Outremer 55, again, one of my favorites, a beautiful vessel, and of course HH. I mean, they're all my favorites. How can they not be your favorites? The Exquisite 60 solar sail, probably, the biggest of the bunch by, various different measures, but still an incredible, elegant design. Hopping onto the coach roof, you can see that really the only one that's got something going on the coach roof here is the Exquisite 60 solar sail with that fly lounge. Now, having said that, Balance 580 have brought out a beautiful lounging area, dedicated lounging area on the coach roof. It is not a cockpit per se, but it is more than just a couple of pads up there. I think they've again done a beautiful balance. It's not the what's the Versa Lounge, but it is darn close. It's very nice. The Outremer 55, of course, very functional there, and the HH 55, nothing at all on the top. But you can see just how slim the hulls are in this Balance 580. Look at those, even compared to the Outremer. Really very comparable to the HH 55. Okay, hopping down inside to the saloon here. Now, you can see as far as the saloon size here, probably Exquisite leads the pack simply because of the beam on this and, of course, the extra length. Looking at the rest of them, the Balance 580 looks to be about the same as the HH 55. The HH might have a wee bit on it, but what is really nice with the 580 now is that they've gone longitudinal on the galley, much like a McConaughey 55 or one of those, where you've got that beautiful long center island. And rather than just being sort of a representation of an island, sort of like what you've got on the 55 and the Outremer and HH 55s, and indeed on the Exquisite, this really is a genuine, long, beautiful island right there. And when you see the renders, it really gives it a sense of elegance. And of course, really nicely stretches out the settee along the starboard side here, still retaining a very nice forward-facing nav station and huge amounts of storage forward there. Again, retaining a beautiful aft cockpit, the Versa helm coming down there, giving you, and wait till you see the way the doors open on this. You've got staggering visibility with the Versa helm down, out of the weather completely, and of course you have the benefits of when the Versa helm's up. You have that mid bulkhead mount. You can talk to the folks up on the coach top lounge, down in the cockpit, into the saloon, and you have great visibility down over your bows. You can also see, both aft hulls. You've got to bend down a little bit for the port side one, but that's okay. But just a really nice cockpit layout there and beautiful sun area. And of course, you do have a dedicated seating area for your lower helm, and it is a completely duplicated helm station. There's no kind of halfways here. You have a full helm station when that Versa helm is down. Looking at the Outremer 55, again, beautiful layout. They too have a fabulous open area when those doors slide back. Very nice large island there. it doesn't give the same sense as the one in the Balance because it doesn't have the length there, but very, very nicely laid out. And of course, you have a beautiful forward-facing nav and all that good stuff there, and a really nice aft cockpit area. You also have dual helms, and both of them are Versa helms as well. Both? No, I think just one. No, they're both Versa helms. Sorry, and they do a wonderful job there. Of course, imitation is the greatest compliment, and they've done a wonderful execution on the Versa helm after Balance introduced it there. The HH55, I do like the layout here. I honestly like the layout in the 50 better. Just with the forward L settee, you got two different separated areas for seating. But again, very spacious. You can see the amount of volume you've got in there. HH always manages to put a lot of volume into their saloons on these high performance vessels. And then you've got a lovely aft cockpit there. All that you'd really want. Over to the exquisite 60 solar sail. Again, mid bulkhead mounted single helm, giving full communication to the full fly lounge up top, the large cockpit down below, and then obviously into the saloon. Lovely saloon with a island counter, very similar in size to the Outremer 55. You got a really nice dinette over starboard forward, and a huge, beautiful forward-facing nav station, as well as a very nice galley layout. Okay, let's head down into the accommodations. Here, the Balance 580 is the first time that they have departed from the athwartship forward for the owner's hull. You can see on the port side there, you have a fore-aft standard owner's berth. And they can get away with this now by still giving good access to the head of the bed for easily making the bed and exit out of the bed without disturbing your partner, because the hulls are a wee bit wider, but not proportionally wider than, say, the 526. So they retain a lot of narrowness. And you've got massive storage as you go up forward. You have a beautiful owner's head, twin sinks. I repeat, twin sinks. Beautiful stuff like that. Really nicely laid out. And, when you see some of their veneers that they're using, they offer you such a selection now. The walnut is absolutely gorgeous. Of course, they're zebra wood and they got cherry. You really can do it up, especially when you get into the 526 and upwards. There's a lot of customization that Phil and Jonathan will allow you to do here. Looking over on the passenger side, you've got the fore-aft aft berth with head, and then the forward athwartship with head into the forepeak. Huge storage into the forepeak on both sides, really. And wait till you see the overhead access into those forepeaks. Looking at the Outremer 55, this is, of course, one of my favorite boats, but the owner's hull and indeed the aft guest hull is definitely full-on butt-scoot bed. You are going to disturb your partner when you're getting in and out, and it's going to be awful to try and make that bed properly so that it, looks really nice. Storage, definitely less than the other three. It's probably just so that your wife is allowed to only bring bikinis. Thumbs up to the French. And then, of course, forward you've got a decent sized double in the forepeak, in the peak there on the port side for your guests, and then on the starboard side you've got a full hull all to yourself with a lovely bathroom up there. Now, my feeling in looking at both of these is that generally the sense of luxury is a wee bit better in the Balance. The sense of modernity and what is the right word that I'm going to use without screwing up French? Joie de vivre, something like that. In the Outremer 55 is really, really nice as well. So it's slightly different appeals to different people. The HH55, absolute butt-scoot bed. They've kept those needle narrow hulls. I'm not a wild fan. They have huge windows in the aft of the HHs, which are absolutely gorgeous. But the berths are wall to wall. The walls are literally padded, and the window is up a foot, 2 feet. On the side, and of course your head is, the big window in the aft is behind your head unless you turn around your sleeping position. So I just feel a little claustrophobic when I look at them, as opposed to, say, the Outremer and Balance, both. Well, the Outremer definitely feels open and airy. I've been in the 55. The Balance, I've been in all of the existing ones, the 442, the 4482, and the 526, and they all feel very open and airy. But I've been on the HH 50, and it just felt claustrophobic to me. I can't tell you exactly why. But I mean, their fit and finish is just absolutely extraordinary. They have a deep sense of luxury in everything they do. Their veneers and their stitching and their, everything is done to a T. It really is. It's the combination of the Outremer and the Balance really together in an HH. The exquisite 60 solar sail, you got massive, full athwartship, 3-side walk-around berths. Every berth is a full-on walk-around, no excuses. You just huge space, huge luxury. Yet to see what the actual decor is like. Bill Dixon did the design on this on the outside, but I'm not sure who is in charge of the interior decorating. I'm not really wild on what I've seen so far in Exquisite, but the renders promise something a little above and beyond on this one. Okay, quickly then, I wanted to show you the other layouts for the 580. So here we're looking at a 4-berth version. As you can see, I mean, everybody's got a beautiful berth here. The owner's side, you've got extra room there for the owner's suite on the port side aft. 2 accesses, so private access to your owner's suite and to the VIP guest. And then on the starboard side, a more conventional format with a shared head in the center and access into the starboard forepeak. And then we've got the 5-berth version with crew quarter in the starboard forepeak. Okay, so let's have a look at some of the numbers here. Quickly across the top line, you will see that the most economical out of the group is the Outremer at 1.7, and then it is the Balance 580 at 1.859. Then you take a significant leap up to the HH at 2.580, and then another pretty significant leap up to the 60 solar sail at 3.115, bearing in mind it's the largest of the bunch. As you get down, though, to your sail away, this is where the Exquisite starts to really, hit home here, because it's one of those rare ones where the manufacturer insists on outfitting it, fully outfitted. You could sail away with just the standard outfit. I struggled to find a couple of $100,000 to tag on top. So in the end, what you're looking at sail away estimated on the Exquisite is 3.5. The Outremer is 2.75, let's say. The Balance is 3. So you got 2.75, 3 on the Balance, 3.5 on the Exquisite, and 4.2 on the HH. Now, a couple of things to note here. These are all pretty exceptional vessels. The Balance is a big vessel for $3 million. And when you see a bunch of the features and things on this vessel, I think it edges out the Outremer in value, even though the Outremer is a little less expensive. And Outremer is the king of after-sales service. They're the king of owner community and events. But Balance is really taking it up a notch in all those areas. Exquisite, Tomas is just a super nice guy and runs a really nice business, and his owners are absolutely fanatically loyal to him for good reason. At a 60-foot vessel with the tech he's got there, 3.5, that's a good value. I really would put, the Balance and the Exquisite at the best values of the group here. Now, of course, your HH is it's an absolute pure carbon screaming machine. So you're going to pay, and you pay more the higher and more technological you get. And so but if that's what you want, that's what you want. The Balance is a real balance. I keep saying that, but they named this thing perfectly. Okay, looking across at length overall, your longest is, of course, the Exquisite is 61.7. Then it's the Balance at 58.32. And really, the HH and the Outremer are almost exactly the same at 54.9. The beam on these, if you're looking across here, it's the Exquisite at 29.2. And then a bit of a surprise, the next one is the Balance at 28.21. It looked narrower. The Outremer at 27.2, and the HH is the narrowest. No surprise there at 26.57. Draft on these. The least draft with boards up is going to be the Outremer at 1.2, followed by HH at 1.3 and Balance at 1.6. That's meters. Then looking at bridge deck clearance, I got all but the HH, and your best bridge deck clearance on these is the Outremer at 6.4 feet. Then it's the Balance at 3.61 and the Exquisite at 3.5. Light ship displacement heading across on these. Your lightest unit here is, and this one always surprises me, is the Outremer. And it's 13.9 ton or 30,644 pounds. Next up is the, yes, that's right. Next up, is the HH at 14.2. Surprising to me that the Outremer is lighter than the HH. And then, of course, next is going to be the Balance at 16.6, 16.7. And then finally, we're looking at the Exquisite as the big girl here at about 25 tons. So again, Balance, longest of the bunch by 3 feet over the others, at least 3 to 4 feet. So the weight there at only 16.6 ton is really quite good. Payload capacity, the only ones are Balance, and I again gotta tip my hat at Balance. They are the only ones that really give all the data. So payload capacity on a Balance is 5 tons. Your upwind sail area, as we head across here, the biggest one is the Balance at 209.5 square meters or 2,255 square feet. The next one is going to be the HH at 191.8 or 2,064. The next one is the Outremer at 172 or 1852. And finally, the Exquisite at 163 or 1754. As we head down then to the engines, they're all much the same except for the Exquisite. It's twin 110s. Everybody else is about twin 60s. Fuel tank capacity, it's the Balance that has it with 1,000 liters or 265 gallons. Next closest is the Exquisite at 790, and then the HH at 600 and the Outremer at 440. Fresh water, it's the Exquisite that has that at 860 liters or 227 gallons, followed by the Balance at 600 liters or 158 gallons, followed by the the Outremer at 440 liters and the HH at 400. And here we go. Those numbers that I keep asking you to beat on your manufacturer's reps and your brokers for: interior square footage, exterior square footage, interior enclosed storage, exterior enclosed storage, and then total fridge and freezer volume. Bless Balance's heart, they're the only company out there that gives all of the square footage areas. And of course, this is a relatively new boat, so I'm not sure just how customizable the fridge and freezer stuff is. When you get up in these sizes, it's quite heavily customizable. So I wasn't able to find that just yet. I'm sure they will have that published soon. But your interior square footage here is 825 square feet, and exterior is 936 square feet. I mean, that's the size of the standard condominium in Vancouver. And the outside is way bigger than any of the decks we've got here. Interior enclosed storage volume is 679 cubic feet, which is significant. And exterior lockers is 188 cubic feet. Now, one should note here, from the drawings and the way they're measuring the exterior locker space, I don't think they're including the forepeaks in this, and they're freaking huge. You'll wait till you see how they're doing that. Okay, heading into some of the technical stuff here. We're looking across your hull construction on these, and I mean, all of these are really, really well-built vessels. If I have to pick one that's out front, it's going to be the HH55. It's 100% carbon, foam sandwich, and 100% epoxy resin. Having said that, you can get exactly the same in the Balance 580. You're going to pay a little bit more than what we looked at there, but the Balance 580, again, very balanced in its standard format, is E-glass with significant carbon fiber reinforcement in the high load areas. We'll see that in the photos. Hand laminated and vacuum bagged with heat foam formed closed cell foam cores in full epoxy. So the issue about heat-formed closed-cell foam is that instead of it being sliced to bend, which creates voids and takes up extra epoxy, thereby adding more weight, is that this is heat-formed without cuts in the foam and therefore takes the minimum amount of epoxy to gain the maximum strength and the minimum weight. So that is a significant element for the balances. The Exquisite, very similar to the Balance, sandwich composite construction, E-glass, foam core, epoxy. They're using vinyl ester and carbon fiber. Vinyl ester, great resin. You've got epoxy at the top, vinyl ester in the middle, and polyester at the bottom. So this one would be just a little lower than the Balance. And Outremer, single layer solid polyester laminate beneath the waterline, so it's solid, with a vinyl ester outer layer. And then where there is a core, it's foam, and the outside is vinyl ester, the inside is polyester. And certain areas are reinforced with carbon. So, again, they've been building these for years. They're a tremendous hull. You can see their weight numbers. They're outstanding. Technically, as a component geek, I'd have to put them a little lower than the Exquisite, but, the proof of the pudding's in the eating, as my mother would say. Okay, looking across at the electric system, I believe these are all 24 volt. The battery banks on these, of course, it's the Exquisite is the biggest with a 48 kilowatt hour or 4,000 amp hour bank of lithium. Next is going to be your Balance at 10 kilowatt hours of lithium or 833 amp hours. Next will be your HH at 540 amp hours or 6.5 kilowatt hours of lithium ion. And finally is your Outremer with the standard pack being 880 amp hours or 10.5 kilowatt hours of gel. And of course, you're only going to be able to use a certain portion of that gel, so it doesn't equate to the same as the other lithium units. Okay, into the performance indicators. This is where it gets real interesting. Sail area to displacement, or an indicator of power. The highest number here wins, and the highest number is the HH at 33.2. But your Balance is just a hair behind at 32.6. Next is your Outremer at 30.2, and finally your Exquisite 25.7. The displacement to hull length at the waterline, or indicator of heaviness. Here it is lightest number wins, and the Outremer and the Balance are tied at 82.7, followed by the HH, which is a huge surprise, at 88.8, and then the Exquisite at 123.3. Finally, we're looking at your KSP number, or your theoretical percentage of wind speed at 10 knots. So here the winner is, by a hair, the Balance at 0.95. Next is the HH at 0.94, the Outremer at 0.91, and the Exquisite at 0.79. Now, I mean, anything over 9 is, 0.9 is outstanding, and you're probably a wind speed boat most of the time. So you can see the Balance is really doing a nice job on, performance numbers for that new hull, especially given the luxury and room and space and practicality that you have inside this vessel. If you're enjoying the content, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, then share the channel with a couple of friends, and hit that like button. It's free and it really helps the channel. You can also join our crew on Patreon, where you can enjoy ad-free viewing, as well as downloads of the Excel specification and PowerPoint layout comparisons, while helping the channel for a few bucks a month. You can find a link to the Naval Gazing Camp at Camp David Patreon channel in the description below, where you can also click to receive information on some really cool virtual sailing training. Okay, hopping on board, what would Sylvia say? Well, I think Sylvia would love this. Look at that beautiful aft cockpit there, all the room, all the sun pads you've got both on the port and the starboard, and that's including you still have a duplicated helm you can see over on the starboard there. Swinging back across just to give you another vantage point on this, and then over here seeing our lovely model lady there, virtual model lady, showing off the sort of the dimensions and the size of these wonderful sunning pads, and then moving up to the upper helm here. You can see the dashboard for the lower helm. Here's your upper helm, and boy, is that nice. Now here, Naval Gazing realized. So what are we looking at here? Look at that beautiful upper lounge area, purpose-built. It's not just a pad thrown down on the roof. Guardrails, a real comfortable area. I'm sure they'll integrate cup holders. It looks outstanding, and it's on a beautiful performance hull. Sure, you lose a little solar, but if you want that, you got to go to the Versa Lounge. Hint, hint. Then here's Jonathan and Phil on top, just giving you a sense of the size of this cockpit. And remember, over to Jonathan's left, there is a pull-out section of the coach roof that slides over and closes that completely in. So you put your Versa helm down, and you've got a beautiful enclosed space down there in the cockpit. Okay, backing out from the helm area, and you can see where the Versa helm goes down there. We're going to head up to the bow, to the second of my favorite elements, my favorite innovations on this new 580. And you can see those conspicuous pads there on the port and starboard in front of the windscreen. And they're not just standard old pads here. Look at what slides out, and then look at what pops up. Is that not the bee's knees? I mean, you can see where it goes here. Jonathan's showing us exactly where this whole thing sets in. And then you can see right here how that slides out. The back pops up, the cushions go down, and voila, you have a forward faux cockpit on a beautiful performance vessel. Now, the next best thing here is the forward hatches. We're going to head up now to the forepeaks here. You can see these, and you'll recognize these from HH that they've done, and I thought they were absolutely brilliant. Gone are the off-the-shelf flush hatches, which have limited access for you, And here is a custom-built, full-on locker hatch. You can see Phil below, seeing just the size of it and the access it gives you within the walk-through forepeak from the inside, and then, of course, from the outside. So you can get bikes, you can get motorcycles, you can get whatever you want in there. I think it's an absolute genius idea. Now, heading down to the front of the bow, what am I looking at here? Well, it's the next Naval Gazing Realized. And that is, yes, that's what it is. It is bow thrusters. And Phil has gone and included bow thrusters in this, giving you enhanced navigation. Crossing my fingers, they'll also pair that up with a dock mate so that you can literally drive by wire, take this thing with, your two well spread out aft engines and your bow thrusters properly coordinated with a dockmate joystick. You can take this thing straight into the dock, straight out from the dock, spin it on its axis. Just the perfect thing that every owner of a 580 wants, making this a very easily single-helmed or short-handed crewed vessel. Okay, heading back here, we're just taking another look at the center section between those two pads, where again, you have some amazing access to huge stowage. And then we'll head back here to these remarkable dagger boards, and we'll take a look at them in the factory. We were looking down on them. It's hard to get a sense of the sheer size of those things because you're so far up. This is a very big vessel, but they are significant. Okay, backing out now, again, we're now looking at the coach roof. This is the coach roof upside down, and I wanted to give you a sense of this, the sheer expanse of pure carbon. Here is Phil inside with the coach roof on. This is hull number 2. And look at the sheer size of the area of carbon. So I want to emphasize the amount of carbon that they've put into this vessel. You've got the entire coach roof, and you'll see very quickly lots of reinforcement. Here's your reinforcement bulkheads. All the black is all carbon. So you really get a sense. Now, this is the full carbon version here. Okay, heading back down now onto the aft cockpit. We are going to have a quick peek inside the cockpit itself in its mock-up. You can see the size of your chairs. You can see the sheer expanse of opening. The doors slide back behind those aft walls of the saloon, so that entire thing is open. Here's Phil walking in the cockpit, giving you a sense of space. We're now going to actually head into the saloon and give you a sense of what that looks like. Here are the doors. Phil's demonstrating here. You can see they disappear completely into those bulkheads. So you have absolutely massive opening space, and you can see it here in the renders. Look at that long, beautiful island counter. What a sense of elegance and space it gives the saloon. And here that is in hull number 2 again, as they're mocking everything up and getting it all set up. We're going to now have another look from another angle here. See it really looks elegant. They got the waterfall counters on that island. Absolutely exquisite. They also have a beautiful sunroof in this for the first time, and it really, really does look nice. You can see it in the renders here and what kind of light and airiness it gives, and then the quality of their cabinetry. This is the walnut, I believe, finish. I mean, look, it's absolutely exquisite. All sandwich foam cores so that that doesn't add to the weight. And here's another look around. You can see the skylight there. Now we're going to head now into the starboard hull. This is the passenger hull on the 3 cabin version. Hull number 2 that we're looking at is actually a 4 cabin version, but I'll try to piece things together to give you a sense of what 3 cabin would look like. So we're going to head to the forward athwartship berth here first. And again, this is the walnut finish, which just looks absolutely exquisite. You've got loads of overhead hatches and ventilation and easy access up into the berth. Here is it in the actual hull number 2 with Phil and Jonathan there giving you a sense of scale. And of course, you have beautiful blinds that all come down, no ugly old curtains. Everything is elegantly done. Now, we're going to head aft in the passenger side to have a quick look at the head. So you have a separate head and shower. Look at the details like the trash bin and the way the toilet paper's done there. I mean, they really, really do an absolutely gorgeous job in these vessels. Everything feels so solid, so comfortable. You feel so confident. It's absolutely exceptional. Now we're going to head back into the aft passenger bedroom. This one has obviously a wooden lee cloth, if you will, so you can turn it into two singles. You got nice ventilation in that aft window, side windows, overhead hatch, everything you could possibly want. Okay, we're back up into the saloon, heading over to the port side, and we're going to go down into the owner's hull. This is, again, the one that has the whole hull dedicated, although hull number 2 has a mirror of the passenger side here. But we'll put it together for you, heading back, that beautiful finish to that wonderful aft berth here. Absolutely gorgeous. Again, ventilation all over the place. Nice bright light. They've really opened up that aft window a lot for you there. And you've got good access on either side of the berth here, as you can see, so that you can get up and reach over there. Here again, Jonathan and Phil in the aft cabin to give you a sense of the space. Look at the size of that aft window and the ports overhead, and then the space that you've got in your berth itself. This one has a bulkhead behind Phil there because, again, this is a 4-cabin version, but that whole thing would open up and you just head all the way forward into your beautiful, beautiful master head here, which we've got a lovely render of. You can see how much space. It's not quite, I mean, it still retains that massive filled shower there, but it's a little more controlled in something this size. The thing I want to point out here is these fantastic double sinks. Okay, coming back up into the saloon, you can see the headroom, the space, the amount of carbon. Absolutely gorgeous vessel. Looking around it from different angles, you can see the princess seats, you can see the beautiful helm position, the wonderful sun pads that come out and tilt up in the front, creating a faux front cockpit, beautiful sunroof. It's an absolutely gorgeous vessel. Okay, what are we going to compare this to in the pre-owned comparables? Because we're getting up into some pretty darn big vessels. Well, first up, we're looking at the McConaughey, a 2020 McConaughey MC60. So we're talking a 4-year-old vessel. They're looking for 2.750. And the balance 580, we're looking for 3 million sail away. I really, really like the McConaughey. I don't think you're going to have the same performance that you will on the balance. And quite honestly, all in all, for whatever reason, I feel more confident with the balance. So on this one, I'd spend the extra coin and I'd get my brand new custom balance. Next up, we are looking at a 2018 Gunboat 57. So we're looking at a 6-year-old boat. They're asking $2 million versus our $3 million. The 57 is a gorgeous vessel, and it's sexy as all get out, but it's nowhere near the livability. And if I'm doing a circumnav, it would be the Balance 580 all day long. Next up, we are looking at the Fountain Peugeot Samana 59 2023. Admittedly, this is a different kettle of fish. It really is an epic vessel with full front cockpit, interior access to front cockpit, etc., etc. They're looking for 3.1 for a 2023, so a one-year-old vessel versus 3 for my Balance. This would be a hard one. It is a full fly bridge, which I'm not thrilled with. Probably because of the ability to single hand or shorthand and just the sense of solidity. I still would go with the Balance on this for my application. Okay, next, just to throw something in and stir things up a bit. Here's an Outremer 5X 2019. They are asking about $2 million, so $1.9 million versus the 3 for the Balance 580. If I had the mill, I'd still do the 580, and the simple reason is the Outremers are even the 5X, as big a boat as it is. I mean, it's a tremendous boat, a tremendous company, tremendous support. The Balance 580, though, it's just more livable. Especially with the innovations like the bow thrusters and the sun lounge on the cockpit roof, the forward faux cockpits, and just the space inside and the finish. I really love the finish of the Balance. I'm sorry, if I had the cash, I would still do the Balance. Finally, one of my faves, 2022 Privilege 510. So we're looking at, a 2-year-old 510. They're asking $1.8 million, which is surprisingly reasonable for a Privilege 510, versus 3 for my new 580. This would really be tough for my application. If this had the full beam forward master, I would probably lean towards the Privilege 510 on this one. It's not going to be as fast as the Balance, but it is a highly solid vehicle and extremely luxurious inside. I couldn't go wrong with Sylvia. Oh, I forgot to mention that the 580 also has full 3 forward sails furling with power furlers on them, just like the Privilege here. So again, real easy single-handed sailing on the Balance. But here, it would probably be the Privilege, just in this one situation. Okay, monohull heresy. What do we compare monohulls to in this? I mean, we're getting big now. We're going 20% over sort of 60 feet, so we're up into 72 feet. First up is a 2021 CMB 66. It's a 70-foot vessel. They're asking $2.471 for a 3-year-old vessel. I mean, it's gorgeous. There's no doubt about it. But for the $500,000 more, I would definitely do the Balance 580. Next up is a 2015. I went a little older on this just to get a few more opportunities. 70-foot Hylas. They're looking for $1.395. So that's less than half of my Balance. It's an older vessel. I'm going to have to invest some into a refit. This would be a hard one. I'd still want the Balance, but there's enough here that I might grab the savings. Next up is the 2019 Hansa 675, a monstrous boat, 69 feet. They're asking 1.6. I love the 675, but and it has huge space inside. But if I had the money, I would still do the balance 580. The thing that holds me back from a lot of catamarans is they're just butt ugly on the inside and butt ugly, period. But that balance 580 with its, power furling, 3 power furling head sails, its bow thruster, its maneuverability, its lounges in the front, its lounge on the, it's got it all, and it's elegant. So I'm afraid if I had the cash, it would be the balance. Okay, the Dave score. How did she do? Well, as it turns out, we have a new king of the Dave score by a long shot. She's right at the top. So looking across here, what you've got is elegance, interior 9, exterior 9. I mean, she's got everything on the interior and exterior short of a hatch straight through to the forward cockpit. She's got a faux front cockpit. She's got a lovely leisure area on the coach roof. She's got an expansive cockpit on the exterior. Interior is absolutely gorgeous. Love the longitudinal island and the whole feel and sense inside the vessel. Comfort, interior, again, 9. Exterior, 9, for all those same reasons. Quality, 9. Balance every time I get on a balance, whether it's an epoxy or it's the 442, 482, they all feel so high quality. You have to go on board one to get a sense of the quality. Performance, this thing is going to be a screamer, so I'm going to give it a 9. Lazy Sailor, definitely a 9. It's got those 3 power furling head sails. It's got the bow thruster. It's got everything that you want. A very, very well laid out helm station. Everything running back there. Outstanding Lazy Sailor boat. Condo, it's definitely a 9. I mean, this thing is as big as Vancouver condos. Geek, 9. There's a lot of stuff to geek out on this. Value for the money. We don't get much above 7 when you get up into these huge values. But this thing, for the money, I have got to give it an 8. It's a really good value for the buck compared to what the market is offering. Well, that's our yacht for this week. As you can tell, I am a massive fan. This thing, if I had the cash, not a doubt, this would be my boat until we review the 620. But the 620 is probably too much boat for me. This one at 58 feet with the bow thruster, the power furling 3 head sails, all of the stuff on board that makes it easy to manage for a single person. It's the maximum size with the minimum effort, and I think I'd feel comfortable managing it. This thing right now is my all-time favorite. So cross our fingers, I win the lottery, and off we go. So I'll leave you with Anton Garrick, Landscape with Sheep. Wonderful painter. It's not hard to find painters and paintings out of South Africa that I love. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.